Hey guys, I'm Kira Houston here, and I'll be showing you how to navigate through PIXLR.com. And that's a pretty cool website where you can edit stuff, make covers, or do all your graphic designing. If you were looking for a good alternative for Photoshop, this is a one. Believe me, you don't need to pay like you need to do for Photoshop, and this really has its own pros, and it's actually pretty much worth it for coming for free, because unlike Photoshop, you don't need to download anything, and it's not going to consume a large space on your hard disk. It's really simple, and it's completely online, so that saves a lot of space, as well as it's really effective. You don't need to spend money on that, and that's another point we need to note. And if you look at the difference or variations between a Photoshop software and PIXLR, it's really simple, and there isn't much you need to worry about it, because PIXLR almost has all the stuff you expect or you need to do a good cover. Yeah guys, I'll be focusing only on making covers, especially for the books on Wattpad.com. That's a pretty famous website, and yeah, so I'll be concentrating on that, and I'll be making some cover tutorials in the next succeeding videos on my channel, and you can check out that later. So basically this episode or this video is going to concentrate only on the basics of PIXLR.com, which you need to know before making covers or any graphic stuff you want to try. And this is just a really quick video, and we'll dive right in, and I won't be like really doing anything. You need to type PIXLR and it pops up. Just go to PIXLR.com, and yeah, you'll get a page like this. And I need to clarify one thing: don't get scared, guys. It's not that complicated as it seems here. It's just that there are really a lot of versions of PIXLR. The first one is the one which will be using actually PIXLR editor part, and the PIXLR Express is just a photo editing part of PIXLR, and that's gonna be for especially for photos, like actual photos which you need to upload somewhere, and you need to give some effects and all that stuff. You can go for PIXLR Express, and it's definitely not for designing. And another thing is that it's very simple than PIXLR editor, and it has only minimal stuff and inbuilt stuff which you can directly add, and this is especially only for editing photographs, as I told, and it's doing its job well, but we don't need it right now. And the other version, if you scroll down, you'll be able to see the PIXLR mobile app and the PIXLR desktop software. I haven't tried this one yet, but I don't know, I'm pretty comfortable with and pretty sufficed with this one, the PIXLR editor part, and I don't need to download and waste my space in the computer, so I just don't want to bother about that right now. So moving on to PIXLR mobile app, that will be dealt with another video which I'm planning to make on doing covers for Wattpad.com on your Android or iPhone or whatever device you use. And this I won't recommend to people because it doesn't have all the options that the online part of it has, so it's not that effective. So I'll deal with that in another video, as I told before. So let's move on and launch a web app. So you'll get a page like this. Yeah, so there are 4 options. The last one, you don't really need to bother about that, because it's basically just a blog that PIXLR has. Yeah, that's why you need to know about this thing, and you really don't need to bother about that right now, because we are not gonna upload any image to the blog or anything like that. So just need to know about the 3 options. It's just this one is really basic, which helps you to browse through the pictures you have saved in your computer or the PC, and then you can like open it as a background. And this one does the same job, but instead of browsing pictures from your computer, for example, if you say that you want to browse something on the net, let's say a model, and you want to open the picture of the model without saving the image to your computer, then you can directly right click and you'll be able to see the there's an option called as copy image address, which you can copy, and you open this and you can paste it there. And yeah, so your progress will be done and you'll be able to open that. I don't know, for some reason that it's not applicable in my computer, and I'm not really using it anyways. So yeah, the first one is pretty important to know, and it's really new. It's just that it's on the other words, in simpler terms, it creates a canvas on which you can work upon. That's really more versatile and really useful, and especially for making covers, which I do for Wattpad. I prefer the size 512 into 800. Yeah, so this will be the size which you need to work with. You can choose another size as well, which is bigger than this, but the original size within which you need to submit a cover to, cover the entire space given to you on Wattpad for a book cover is gonna be 246 into 400. But that, if you see, it's gonna be really small, so we'll be just using 512 into 800, which is an enlarged version of it. And later on, after you finish working on the cover and you have the end product with you, you can just resize the image to 256 into 400, and there you upload the cover. And this one is a transparent tool that is just for making the canvas transparent. That is really important to know while cropping the background of an image, which we won't be doing right now, and I'll be talking to you about that soon in this video. So first, let's create a canvas, and there you can see, I'll enlarge it. Yeah, so this is a canvas of which we'll be working upon, and this is a layer toolbox where you can see the layers displayed, and this is navigation needed for making the layer into different modes. Like, you can convert the mode of the layer into normal, and there are a lot of stuff which will be displayed. This is not currently applicable to this because this is a background, and as you can see here, it's locked. So if you click on the lock button, it'll be unlocked. But then you will be able to change this layer as well, which we don't want to, because that gets really complicated when you work with the cover, when you're working on the cover actually, and we really don't need to do that. So here is the toolbox. You can, it's a basic toolbox which is displayed in any software or any designing software. Even if you have a paint box or in your PC, you will be able to see all these, except the filter view and all that. But otherwise, it's pretty basic, and it has the same file which has save, print, close, login. The login, as I told you before, it's for the PIXLR blog, which you can log in, which we don't need to bother about again. And this is for the new image. This new image opens a new canvas, and this open image option is for opening an image in an entirely different tab. As you can see here, that tab I'm talking about is that, if I minimize this, you'll be able to know. See, this is a tab, and if I click on open image, a new image or an image or a canvas or whatever I want will be opened in a new tab. That'll be useful for cropping image simultaneously, which we'll be dealing with later. Or if you see my other videos, you'll be able to understand it. Or if you use PIXLR.com, you'll get more accustomed to. And this is for opening the image URL, that is opening image through URLs and all that. And open image library, that's from computer. And this edit button has different options that we are normally familiar with: the undo, redo, cut, copy, clear, paste, free transform, free distort. The first distort and transform are really important. The transform and distort, it's like enlarging and transforming the picture you have. That really needs a deep understanding of the website, which we'll be learning soon. Now, the image has, all the image size, canvas, rotate canvas and all that. And the new layer, this is really new to those who are new to PIXLR, and this is for opening images onto the canvas. And this basically controls the layers. As you can see, the layer styles, rasterize layer, layer mask and all that. If you have gone to Photoshop, you'll be familiar with all these terms, and it just basically deals with all the things related to layer. And the adjustment is adding effects to the photos, and the filter is similar to adjustments, and these are not needed for us. Now anyways, as I've changed here, the lock button is gone right now, which I want to bring back to the lock button. I'll click the undo. Now undo is really helpful. Well wait, this thing is, so yeah, as I've unlocked it, it doesn't go back, so I need to open a new thing. Let's open it. Yeah, if you see a new image with the same 512 into 800, yeah, okay, so it'll be open. As I've talked to you about the tabs, you can see now, I think you can understand right now. See the two tabs open, you can just unclick the exit the tab that we opened before, which we locked and all that. So this one, as you can see, is locked right now, which we don't want to disturb. Now this is the toolbox, which is another it's really important. It has all the basic tools that you'll be using for editing, and this one is apparently for just moving stuff, and you don't need to worry about this because you won't be using this or this one. This is the type tool which will be using to type on the image. Like if you want to type, say, hey, I've typed hey, and you can move the text box there. So the fonts that will be displayed here, and you can choose any font you want. Let's say Century. Yeah, and you can move the size here. You can like change it from big to small and all that. And this is the the mode of the text or the style. It talks about basically bold, or the text being italic, bold, italic, and all that. That's there in Word document. So this basically is a color. You don't need to get confused by this. It's not that complicated. Just don't even need to worry about this part. And if you want to manually adjust it, it's fine. You can directly do it. But it has a lot of colors, as you can see. But so, a lot of times we can if you want to, for example, want this color on the text, then you can't really go and adjust it to exactly to that color. It's going to be really tough. See, there are a lot of shades of blue, and you really can't stop the exact color, and then it's not the same. So yeah, instead of that, you as soon as you click color, this thing will be open up. So if you click color, this tab will be open. Instead of manually adjusting this thing, you can move the tab, and if you have the color on the picture, that will be really useful while having a picture. But here, let me take this color. Anything outside this tab, outside this tab, it will work. Like for example, for this color, you'll get it. See, if you move the cursor outside this tab, it's gonna change into a color picker tool, something like this. See, yeah. So, and if you want to choose this color, it'll be chosen. If you want white, so yeah, anything outside this box will be chosen as a color. If you click on that, yeah, it'll be chosen. See, we want gray, it'll got a gray, this color. So you didn't need to worry about changing it manually on the color wheel. So you just need to click on the color and get OK, so you'll get it. So basically the text box is there for that, and after you decide on it, you can do various styles with the font, which will be, you need to know about these because you'll be using fonts on your covers, obviously. So there you can see drop shadow, inner shadow, bubble, bevel, and outer glow, inner glow, and all that. I'll be talking to you about each. So first, and one more thing you need to know, guys, is that if you want that thing to be there, you just click on that, and you can see, as you can see, a tick option will be created or formed on the box. It'll be checked, so that will be there in the font. So, or that effect will be applied. The opacity can be changed, and the distance can also be changed. So, and the size, it can just be like a mist or a shadow, and you can also change the color, which will work on the similar principle I just talked right now. You can change it and into normal color, gray, or whatever color you want. With the color picker tool, it's all easy. So that's the drop shadow. If you uncheck it, the drop shadow will go. If you check it, it'll come again. So that's the thing. And the next inner shadow is basically for, you know, creating a engraved effect on the font, or is especially used for font. So don't mind me addressing it only to the fonts. So yeah, which I'll display. It'll be really familiar if I increase the size. You'll be able to see. Can you see it? It's like really, you know, it gives an effect which makes it appear as if it's engraved onto the surface. So that's what is the inner shadow thing does, and that has the same function. And this thing is basically for changing the angle or the position of it, which you'll again be familiar with if you have used Photoshop before. And that does the work of moving the shadows you see inside. See, as I move it, you can see the movement of shadows inside as well. So this decides the color and the distance and size, and everything is same like drop shadow. Yeah. So next, bevel. Bevel is the exact opposite of what inner shadow does. It embosses the surface of the font. As you can see, there's the 3D effect which it brings to the font, and that makes it look as if it is, you know, protruding out of the surface. And the bevel has a lot of stuff. I don't use bevel much, but anyways, that is the highlights bevel, and the bevel is has the distance as well, and thus you can move the distance and you can move the size as well, and the angle. This tool can also be used for giving a different color variations for the text. As you can see, if you have the distance really in the middle or something, and if you move the size, yeah, see, you can see a varied color that moves from the dark to light here. So yeah, it can be used for that as well. And this is for highlights, as the name clearly suggests. And yeah, basically it's for the highlights and it's for the shadows. So I don't use much bevel much. So the outer glow, this is really important. It's really awesome. It's basically, I'll tell you, it gives an outer shadow or a covering for the font, which will be really, you must have, if you are familiar, if you're you know, if you are in Wattpad, you will be, so you'll notice this type of you know, effect on the fonts. Often they'll have an outer covering and an inner color, which can be created with this outer glow. And then the inner glow is something similar to the inner shadow. So that's what the layer styles are all about, which will be really useful for defining the font and creating 3D effects to the font. So yeah, and that's about the layer styles and a font box as well. And as I've told you before, this layer box shows all the layers. So if you can play around with it, I don't know, you can, like, you know, change the layers and arrange them according to your need. And this thing I've been talking about is, like, as I told you before, that didn't appear in the background box. It comes here. See, you can, like, you know, change the mode of the font or the layer itself. Like, you can overlay it, you can play around with opacity, which if you'll be able to see around, right? See, you can play around with opacity, you know, lighten it, dark it, and all that. It's basically, the opacity means will make the layer transparent enough, like according to the a number that changes here. See, if it's 100%, it's going to be completely non-transparent, and if you move to 0%, it's going to be completely transparent, which means that it's not going to be visible. So you can play around with the visibility of the layer if you want it to be clear. Yeah, and that's it. And if one more thing you need to know about PIXLR is that the layer that you have selected is the one that you can work upon currently at that time. So, and if you don't want the layer, you can delete it here, and this is a new layer box, which will be, again, like a new layer will be formed. You don't need to worry about that. And if you don't want the layer, you can just simply delete it. Or even if you right click it, you'll get all these options, which has all the options that are here on the box, you know, the below the down of the box or whatever you call it, and you have almost all the options or even more options here. So that's it for the layer and the font. And moving on to the text box, it has that's a blow tool, pinch tool, spot heal, red reduction, dodge, burn, sponge, and smudge tool, blur tool, sharpen tool. This the box it has all the tools that you need for editing any photographs that you have. So this is basically for that, and you don't need to worry about this because you won't be using all these like really frequently in editing covers or any photographs for the matter. So moving on to this sub box, as you can see, if you zoom in and see, you'll be able to see a small line that separates the tools. So this one is especially for photographs, and this one is mainly for editing and all the basic stuff that you need for designing. And we'll see about this. It's just a drawing tool, the pencil tool, and this is the brush tool, which we'll be using for correcting the colors and all that. And that'll be, you can learn about that if you see my videos, where I make covers. And next is the eraser tool, and this is the paint bucket, and this is a pretty important tool. It's gradient tool, and if you can see, it has different gradients. If you click on that, you're gonna get a tab that's gonna open here, and as you can see, it has an opacity box, which you can, again, as I talk to you here, it does the same work. It decides the color's opacity. And this one is a gradient tool, and this is basically if you want to throw light gradients on the photograph you want to edit or the cover you want to edit, it's going to be pretty important in that, and that creates effects. For example, to be more clear, you can take the lens flare option in most of the photo editing apps that you might have used. This one does the same job as that. As you can see, there are a lot of different gradient templates that has been inbuilt, and you'll be mostly using either this or this for editing covers, as far as editing covers is concerned, because all the rest of it is especially for, you can use it, there's no restriction in that, but it's not that common. So yeah, in this decides opacity of the gradients. As you can see, it will be more visible here now. Yeah, so the opacity of the black color is changing, if you notice. Yeah, so that decides the opacity, and that comes into play when you want to give a really light effect on the cover for lightings. And this one is the color as well, and this again opens the color box, which has a color wheel and a color picker tool, and which you can pick on a color and all that. So you'll be using that. And this tool is really new for those who haven't used for PIXLR before. As you can see, if I move this, the white color part of it increases. So that's what it is used for. You can decide the gradient of the color you're gonna apply, and that's it for this. The types of gradient is here. It's like either applied radially, which is not even, it won't be even, it'll be like all scatter and all that. And this is linear, which will be according to according to this line. So it's always in linear, and linear is pretty much enough for adding lighting textures. If you want, you can try your hand and radial as well. And this is spread method, which you don't need to worry about. It reflects, repeat, and all that. And this again the mode, which we saw here. It again decides whether you want to overlay it, multiply it. It is different modes of setting the lighting in it on the image. So that's it for gradient. So this is another important tool, which is called the clone stamp tool. The clone stamp tool is basically for correcting, and it's really important for correcting stuff, which again we'll be dealing in my covers. You need to know about this. That's all you need to know about this. So this is a color replacing tool, which we don't use much. And this is a drawing tool which is really important for drawing borders on the covers. For example, if you click on this, you'll be able to see the shapes that is available, that is inbuilt, and you can click on any of the shapes and you can draw the shapes actually. And for borders, we'll be using only for borders mostly. You can just click on the shape and you see this rectangle will be full with the color that you can choose. I'll go with the blue color. I don't like black that much. So yeah, this it won't actually work because you need to fill all these before drawing the shape on the cover or the canvas. So you need to fix all this before to your desired size here, and the shape, the color, the mode, and everything should be decided before you draw the shape. So if I don't want it right now, I just go undo it, and the opacity I can change again, and the mode I don't mind the mode I don't mind the modes for my borders. So the border size, I don't know what this is about because it's like you can change it and all that. It's like the border, the size of the difference from the border. I mean, you are able to draw the stuff, right? And the difference, this one is what the border stuff does. So yeah, that's what the border thing does. So you don't need to worry about the border right now because again, we won't be using borders commonly for designing covers. And I'm gonna undo it, and I want the border size to be really less. The fill shape, this is where the thing comes in for drawing borders especially. But you need to uncheck the fill shape to create borders on your cover, and the border size is actually should not be 0 for you to create a border. At least it should have something 2, 3, whatever you want, whatever the size of the border you want on your cover, that should be the size here. And this is actually, you can think it in this way, it's actually the width of the border you want on your cover. So according to that, you can enter the number. Next, as I told you, you need to be sure to uncheck the tick on the fill box, I mean the fill shape box. So you just need to untick it and draw the rectangle as you did before. There. See, you'll be able to create a border of the size you requested here. So that's how you create borders, and I let it just stay. I don't want to undo every single thing I do. So yeah, that's what is about the drawing tool. And moving on to yet another important part of the toolbox. This has the crop tool, move tool, marquee tool, the lasso tool, and the magic wand. First one, the crop tool, does the exact thing that the name suggests. You must be really familiar with this. It just crops the stuff you don't want on the cover. See, it'll ask you a confirmation message whether you want to apply the changes. If you don't want, I don't want to, so I just click no. And this is marquee tool, move tool, and this is the marquee tool. Move does the similar function as the free transform does, and just moves the stuff. For example, if I have a image or an image or a font on that, you'll be able to move it. For example, let's add a font. Say the same thing, hey. Okay, and I won't bother with the color this time. If you want to move it, I'll be able to move it without transforming. But the thing about the difference between free transform and the move tool is that if you click on free transform, it won't be able to for font. Yeah. If the free transform part, you'll be able to alter the size and move it and all that of the image. But you won't be able to do that with the move tool, because with move tool you'll be able to only move the font or the layer. So there, I'll just undo it or let the haze stay. Yeah, and this is the marquee tool which we'll be using right now. I'll be teaching you with the hay part. Wait, let's rasterize the layer. Rasterizing the layer is it's very similar to locking the font layer here, and that's if you click on the rasterize layer, the font will be locked. so you'll be able to apply effects on that. And now if you see, I'll be able to show the free transform stuff. See, you can like enlarge it, shrink it, and change the shape as well. So that's what the free transform does. And if you click on move, yeah, confirmation message no. So if you click on move, you'll be able to just move it. Now the marquee tool. The marquee is selecting a particular space against. You'll be able to, after you select it, you'll be able to move the box that you have selected. Yeah, and that again comes in various shapes. Constraint that you can like select this ratio instead of really customizing the selection, or in the by using, you know, alternating the width and height. And this is a feather touch and anti-alias. Anti-alias is basically, I'll get back to that when we look at what the marquee tool is actually. I don't want this shape. Okay, so yeah, let's move on to this shape. I'll select this and I'll select this part. Now move it. You'll be able to move the part you've selected. So that's really cool if you ask me. And yeah, and that's what the marquee and the move tool does. I'll go undo it. Yeah, so I've selected it. In the marquee tool, as you can see, it has a feather touch, which will, like, you know, smoothen the edges where the image is being cut. In the anti-alias it's an option which mainly controls quality of the cut the image will undergo. So if you just move it, you'll be able to see it. Unselect it. See, the edges are really smoother this time because the feather is increased. So that's what this thing does. Let it stay. The magic wand and the loop tool does one thing. For that you need that mainly is helpful while cropping the background of an image. So let's open a new image with any canvas size, because we're not actually gonna use this canvas. We're just gonna need a canvas with a transparent background. This is really important, guys. Pay attention, because this is really important for you being able to cut the image. And if for example, if you need to cut the background of an image and move it to the canvas where you're actually working on your cover, then you need to have the image, just canvas, to be transparent. Only then it'll work. So you need to click the transparent button before you crop the background of an image. So yeah, see, this will be created. You can open an image as a layer. Let's say open an image. That's pretty simple for you guys to understand. What? I have a lot of images, so don't mind it. So let's choose this thing. Yeah, it's pretty simple and you'll be able to understand it. Oh my god, yeah. Okay, I think we'll go with this. Okay, it's a bit complicated, but anyways, we'll be able to do it. So first, the magic wand is really simple and it's really effective tool. You need to know for cropping the backgrounds of an image. This basically crops the color that is common. If you take the black color part of this, it crops all the black color of the girl's shirt. If you select the specific color, it'll you'll be able to see dotted lines around the color that you've selected. And when you click go to edit and click cut, you will no longer be able to see the black color. So that's what the magic wand does in simpler words. So basically, if you have a single, this thing is, you won't be able to understand it if you have an image like this which has pretty complicated background. A simple background is a background that has a single color, a solid color, but as you can see, this background has a lot of colors in it: blue, green, gray, and shades of blues and all that. So it's pretty difficult to cut it, and you need to do a lot of stuff before cutting it. Actually, I'll show you. Like this, and select. You need to keep on continuously selecting and cutting it out. That's what the magic wand does. It just cuts the part you don't want on the picture, and if it's in the same color, it's gonna cut all that. So yeah, this is if this image needs a lot of cutting out, and a lot of minute cutting out is required by the magic wand, so that's really difficult. So instead of that, you can actually use the loop tool, lasso tool, or loop tool, and again it has different things and different options here. This is a freehand lasso tool which you can, for example, if I select that, I'll be able to draw pencil-like lines around. I'll be able to draw pencil-like lines with this, and so you create pencil-like lines like that, and you can pretty much draw the lines. But it's, as you might have guessed by now, it is really difficult to draw with your free hand with tools like this. You won't get the exact line, right? And it's really difficult. That's why we don't use this what do you call that, freehand lasso tool. Instead, you can go for the polygonal lasso tool. 1 minute. For that, you just it works with the lines. Like you'll be able to see it. I don't know whether you can see it, or maybe zoom it. Now, can you see the lines that can be done? Yeah, that's how the polygon tool works. I'll just undo everything. Undo. This really gives me the groups. Undo. See, so when you finally do it, it can enclose the shape that you have dotted lines. This thing can be pretty easily explained if you understand the concept. Like if you keep a dot there, like that, I've kept a dot there, and next the dot has kept here, and if I keep a dot here, the line will be formed. I'll keep a dot here, and keep a dot here, and here. So that forms an image, which you may right now think that it's not useful for cropping. How will you crop it this? You may question me, but the thing is, you can easily do it. I'll tell you how. First, there are different options. If you click Control, you'll get a minus symbol or a hyphen like symbol beneath the loop. So that is for deleting stuff, which you'll understand if you start doing the underlining or the outlining part. And if you press Shift, you will get an addition symbol or plus sign, which will add the outline. This can be easily done. We'll see. Just zoom out and click on a point, Shift point. You have to continuously click on the Shift, leave the thing, and continuously you must be keep on drawing around. The idea here is that you'll be creating small breakpoints, and you'll be drawing accordingly. So now the space around her hands have been that you saw that, right? The space around the hand had been they had the lines, the dotted lines. I'll show you like this. So similarly, you have to do that for the entire image, and then you'll get something like that. And that takes a long time basically, But if you really want to have a minute cut and don't want to waste time, selecting each and everything with the magic wand, you go for the loop, the polygonal loop, and do it. The feather option here also does the same thing as I talked about in, where did I talk about it now? Yeah, here in the marquee tool. Similarly, even the lasso tool has so that's what happens. The feather, as I've been talking before, it just does same work. It just smoothens the edge where it is being cut. Anti-alias is thing that is very similar to feather option, and it does the same function. It just smoothens out the edges. Fine. Then that's there, and you just undo it. That's how you cut the background of an image. If you really want me to show you how to cut an image, I'll just give me a moment. I'll just Google it. So yeah, I've Googled an image which has a solid background, and we'll be cutting out this model. I'll just save the image. Just save it. Save. Run the curve. And let's get back. I'll just we'll open another image. We'll similarly create the background 800 and 800. Okay, now we have it. We'll open the image as layer. Okay, so here we have it. As you can see, again, the free transform comes into play. Just shorten the size, and we begin. So we click the magic wand, and we select the white part of the background. But if you look into it carefully, you'll be able to see that some of the white that has been carried on into her skirt is also being selected. See the white thing here, which is in contact with the background. So we need to be careful with such parts. So just select it. I'll just show you. Select the part and go to edit and cut it. So you'll be able to see the image of the model. The parts which we have noted earlier, where the white background has carried on to that have been carried on into the skirt part that has also been cut along, we can fill it with the brush tool. Select change the color to something that is near, and we just fill it along slowly and all that. I don't have the patience for that right now because we're not meant to do that. So anyways, you just need to fill in the part like that. Anyways, and you just select pixels. This will be selected, and you can just copy it. Minimize the tab and open the tab, whatever this is. So just open the tab, and you'll be able to go to the edit, and you'll be able to paste it. And so the model has come into the picture right now. We can again go to free transform, and you can just transform her. You can change the shape and size of the picture and just place it somewhere. Like here. Yeah, so it'll give you a confirm message. You click add. So you click yes, and it'll get attached. So that's how you crop out the backgrounds of an image as well. So that's the thing. I've explained everything now. So that's how you navigate through Pixel. And at the end of the time, at the end of the editing, you can save the image. Before that, let me talk to you a little about the layers here. So you can see we have the font layer and we have the image layer of the model here. So we can shift the for this it'll be really helpful if I use the free transform, and if I place it above, see now the model is in front of the image. As you can see, just click apply changes, and if you move the front layer or any layer for that fact, that will move front. So this will also help in arranging the layers, as I told you before. That does it. And this, if you click on the mode for the image, it's going to be screen, overlay, multiply. It changes. Alright, and wait, this will be clearly demonstrated here. See, so we have a screen layer here, so that's why the width will have multiply. So there. So similarly, modes will also create more styles and techniques when the two layer merges. So finally, when you're done, you can just save the image you've created, type in the name, and another hint or a hack for you to get a good quality image is to just go and click transparent image. Don't worry, this won't change any, change your background to transparent as it did in the canvas or the image selection. This won't do anything like that. It just saves the picture in the format of PNG, and it's just the highest quality, and so it'll be saved like that. Just save it, and I'm not going to save it right now, so I'm just going to click cancel. So just okay. Wait, sorry. So that's all the navigate through PIXLR. And so if you follow me for the rest of the video, I'll be doing a lot of other covers for Wattpad.com, especially for Wattpad, so it'll be really helpful, I guess. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it was really helpful and you learned something from it. And one more thing is that, well, you need to play around, guys. That's the only way to improve yourself and develop your own methods and techniques which you're comfortable with. You need to learn all the techniques. You need to navigate around PIXLR a bit before you become really comfortable and know what to do, and know how to apply the stuff you want to. So that's how you do it. And for more videos for specifically making any particular cover for a particular genre or for Wattpad.com, stay along, tag along, and watch my next videos where I'll be uploading about making covers. Thanks for watching, and do subscribe. Bye.